Welcome back to the Andrew Finney Show, where we help you make sense of real estate. I'm your host, Andrew Finney with King Realty Group here in Las Vegas, Nevada. A couple of quick ground rules. Number one, you're in a safe place, so please be respectful and polite. And number two, please, if it's on your mind, please know that you are in a safe place and ask a question, okay? So what we're going to do this week is we're going to go into the book of the week. Then we're going to answer the questions that over the last week, and we're also going to pick a question that came in over the last week that I wanted to share with you because it really stuck out to me. I'm a little bit pressed on time today, just to be honest. There's a wonderful event taking place today at the Suncoast Casino and Hotel with Hillary Farr and Rules of Renovation, and I'm quite curious to see what she's going to be teaching, and something that I hopefully can bring back to you next week and share with you as well. So the book of the week is Start With Your Why, Find Your Why by Simon Sinek. So with Find Your Why by Simon Sinek, it's really important to know why we do the things that we do. And everybody gets up in the morning, everybody's thinking about, okay, the reason I go to work is I want to earn money. The reason I go to work is to put a roof over my head. The reason I go to work is I want to advance in my profession. We all have a different reason why, and we have to get in touch with the reason why. As Simon says in his Find Your Why, achieving your fulfillment starts with understanding exactly why we do what we do. And he shares tips with some of the colleagues that he had written that book about that will apply to our personal life, our professional life, and even if you're an entrepreneurial thought process, you can get started with it and start applying the reasons why. That's critically important to me as a real estate agent and as a person is to be in touch with the reasons why I make videos, why I'm in real estate, why I help the families that I work with, right? It goes beyond money. I was having this conversation with somebody recently, and I said, they were a new agent and they were asking me about how to become successful as a real estate agent. I said, well, the first things first is you need to know why you're doing it. And chances are one of the reasons why you're in real estate is because you want to provide a better lifestyle for you and who I hear in the background, which is your child. So it's one of those things that we really have to be crystal clear because times get hard. And when times get hard, we have to be in touch with who we are core to be able to move forward. So I would like you to consider today, what is your reason why? What is the reason why you do the things that you do, and how could your life change if you took steps to accomplishing and achieving your goals today by first understanding what's most important to you? So the question of the week that really stuck out of my mind was from G Chen on one of the videos he had watched. G was asking me about new home construction in specific and what kind of gas or chemical test that they should have. I had sent him back a couple of links. I'll put in the show more description below after the live stream about the importance of asking if a radon gas test was done. Radon gas is something that sometimes new home construction can be susceptible to in different parts of the country. I had put a link in my response back to G about where you want to go on the EPA's website. Of course, with the government shutdown right now, problematic. Good morning, Superior Lawn Care. I got your question the other day as well, and thank you for it. It was a great question. Just haven't had a chance to respond yet. But with the EPA's website, it actually gives a map with the radon levels in each state. So you'll know by working with your trusted real estate advisor if that's a gas test that needs to get done for your house. Like here in Las Vegas, Nevada, it's so low that we don't really have them. At the same time, I still ask that of a new construction person that we just contracted on with another family moving over from Hawaii, and I'm waiting for them to respond back to me if it's something that they do or if they use radon gas resistant materials. A couple of other gas tests that you could consider if it's something that's of concern to you is methane gas and formaldehyde. You know, that stuff that we actually used to take out the frogs and everything, or pigs or whatever it was when we were taking biology in high school? Well, yeah, that stuff can actually get in your house, and it's been known to cause cancer in rats. So those are 3 types of gas tests that you might want to have done in a house. Again, after the live stream and after the event today, I will make sure that probably within the next 48 hours, I update the live stream comment section so you can quickly go through the questions and see what was asked and click on the question that makes most sense to you to get answered. All this, that EPA link will be in there, so I want to make sure that everybody has access to that and knows where to go to find out more information of how to protect themselves and their family. Megorium, hey, I'm glad that you're here, Megorium. I just saw you flash on my screen. Let me go over here. There we go. Now I can see what you said. Okay, it says, Andrew, oh my God, so glad I could catch your live video. I am so glad that you caught the live video too, Megorium. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you for tuning in. Starting a little bit earlier than usual because of the Hillary Farr event, so I'm going to be keeping this one pretty short. And if I talk too fast in the process, because sometimes I tend to get rushed in my own head, and it causes me to talk faster than I really should, please tell me. Just say, hey, Andrew, slow your roll. You're talking too fast, dude. And I'll slow down, all right? Darren Carter, none of this that you do, I do in life. None of this that you do, I do in life or anything else would not be possible without our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I work 60 plus hours a week at Ford Motor Company for my family. Darren, thank you for sharing your reasons why you do what you do. And thank you so much for letting us know what's most important to you and your core convictions. You're absolutely right. Knowing the reasons why and what's most important to you will get you up every day of the week. You know, you do 60 hours a week. On average, I'm doing like 72 to 80 hours a week, you know, in between producing videos, working with the families as a full-time agent. There is so much to do, and it's very tight time schedules. What I'm trying to do right now is get better on responding to the questions and the comments that come in off the channel as quickly as possible. This is one of the reasons that I like this live stream format, is it gives me the opportunity to answer in detail people's questions, because sometimes people throw a question out there saying, oh, thinking it's maybe an easy answer, and it's not such an easy answer, such as G's question, what other gas tests should they have beyond radon? Well, it depends, and it depends on a host of factors, hence why I'm making that EPA link down in the show more description available as well. So let's get into the questions that came in over the last week, and if you guys have any questions while we're live today, please ask away. Okay, so let me go start over here. Matt Nelson had watched Buying a House, 5 Compromises Not to Make, and shared with us, nice video, love the new camera and logo. Thank you, Matt. I know that you're on the live streams with us when you're at work listening to us, so thank you so much. If you're here today, thank you ahead of time before you comment. Okay. All right, and I also wanted to put out there, Tish R was really cool. She'd watched the same video, Buying a House, 5 Compromises Not to Make, and was letting us know that she had closed on her house with a NACA loan. And she made, underneath specific, she had commented that if anyone has questions about how the NACA program works as you're buying a house, then please go ahead and use that thread to ask her those questions, and that she was happy to help out. So I do want to give a shout out and props to Tish R for helping us out and helping anyone get answers to the questions about the NACA program from a home buying experience as someone who has used that program. Okay, then we have Clevin Timms 24 that had watched 2019 Will It Crash. It says, awesome video, very informative, and loved the message to Americans. Thank you, Clevin Timms. Really appreciate you. Juliet had watched Advantages and Disadvantages of Putting a House in Trust and said, did I drink too much coffee and why do I talk so fast? Oh, Clement Timms, you're happy to be here today. Thank you for joining in live. It's a pleasure, and you tuned in at just the right time to get the shout out to you, so that's pretty cool. So Juliet was saying that I talk a little fast. I think we've covered that probably ad nauseum at this point on the live streams, and everybody says it's just give and take, and you can always use the gear icon in the bottom right side of your screen to slow me down or speed me up. Anyways, then we go into Denise Belt had watched Buy or Sell a House with Solar Panel, and she said, thank you so much for the solar video. For reference, Denise Bell and Edwin Lowe, a couple of our subscribers on the channel, had asked me for that video a while back ago. So it was one of the first ones I wanted to release this year after getting all the information together, taking a look at the real experiences that I've had in both helping sellers sell properties with solar and helping buyers buy property that have solar, whether it's leased or owned. If you guys are considering buying a house that has solar, that's a really informative video, whether you're on either side of the fence, because let's face it, if you buy a home with solar, at some point in the future, you're going to be selling it with solar. And if you're in a position now that you need to sell it and it has solar on the house, you need to know what to do. And the more information and the more transparent you can be about the solar program, whether it's leased or owned, and the more information you can provide to prospective buyers as they come in for showings is fantastic. So please make sure that you take a look at that video if that's your situation. Please make sure that you take a look at that video if that's your situation. Megorium says, I'm wanting to buy my first house this year. We are banking on our tax return to use as a down payment. Should I start talking to a realtor now or wait for our tax return to hit? So Megorium, that's actually a really wonderful question, and I'm glad that you raised this question, especially around taxes, because we know that there's some major tax law changes this year. If you guys are forecasting a return, or you've already met with a tax advisor and they told you that you're going to get some money back, then that's something that you can probably reliably say, okay, that should be the amount that you're getting back if you've already filed. That being said, when do you want to reach out to a real estate agent? I always suggest 3 months to 24 months in advance. The reason being is that even before you get the loan pre-approval letter, it's smart to start selecting your trusted real estate advisor you want to work with, meet with them, review what you can do up front. The better off you're going to be moving forward into the future. And with the education of knowing the home buying process, you'll be extremely well prepared. And chances are your trusted real estate advisor will be able to introduce you to a solid local loan officer that's going to take the time to answer all the questions that you have. So in short, to the question of when to reach out to the agent, reach out to the agent now. And if you need help finding one, then hit me up in the off of my direct email in the show more description below, and I'll help you find a top agent where you are. I'll send you a list of questions I need you to answer, of course, up front, to be able to help you find the right agent. All the same, you want to go ahead and get that done. And whether you're using the tax return for the down payment or not, down payment assistance programs go across the board across the United States. They operate a little bit differently, and sometimes different counties or states have some different programs that might be available. So it's also an option for you to get into your home if that's something that's convenient for you. All I ask you to do is make a well-informed decision after you get all the information so that you know what the best course going forward for you is. It's a really good question, McGoran. I appreciate you bringing it up. You said you're so ready to get out of a duplex and so impatient. Thank you so much. Writing this down, so helpful. Well, good thing that it's a video, and after the live stream, you can always refer back to it. And as I shared early on, it'll probably take me a day or two to come back to this video after the live stream and update the show more description. But I will be sure to minute mark your question so that you can refer back to it, and anyone else that was curious about that question could tune into it right away, okay? Let's see. Clevin Tim says, are you familiar with BBVA Home Program, Texas? Not many reviews regarding the program and wanted to weigh the pros and cons. So that's a really interesting proposition there, Clevin Tim. Is a really interesting question. I'm familiar with VA home loans quite a bit, as you know, about half of the families that I've represented are either active duty or veterans. At the same time, BB, I don't know what that's an acronym for. If you could be a little bit more descriptive, maybe I'll have a better idea of what that is. If that's something specific to Texas where you are, then no, the answer would be no, I'm not familiar with it if it's something state specific, unfortunately. All the same, when you're wondering about how to weigh the pros and cons, it goes back to the same thing that we talk about so much, and the same thing that you've been doing, Clevin Tims, by watching my channel, is you want to make sure that you have a conversation with a loan officer, normally more than one, if you're questioning about the pros and cons of it, to try to weigh out the two sides and get all the ins and outs of the program to make sure that it's the right decision for you to make with your home loan. That's how best that you weigh out the pros and cons, is understanding how the program works. And go ahead and throw out the question, lender, are there any hidden costs on this? You know, what are the exact costs? Ask them for a loan estimate. The loan estimate will break out the numbers of what you can realistically expect to pay for your mortgage, keeping in mind that it's an estimate until you get an estimated settlement statement, which is what you'll get at the end of closing in the form of a closing disclosure and an estimated settlement statement for the cost of buying your new home. Either way, the best way to weigh pros and cons is simply to have the conversation, pick up the phone, and call a lender today to ask them about it. Okay, it looks like you said BBVA Compass Bank lender. Not familiar with them whatsoever, so please definitely talk to that loan officer, Clevin Tims, and make sure that you're asking them, you know, what's the mortgage interest rate, and keeping in mind that mortgage interest rates change daily. So, you know, what they could give you a quote for today will change by the time you close on your house, frankly, unless you did a rate lock. And depending on how soon you're getting ready to buy, that may or may not make sense for you. So it's all depends, okay? But we want you to make a well-informed decision. So please get educated on the program. And if there's more than one lender that has it, please talk to another lender that has it as well, so you can compare notes and make the best decision possible for you and yours. Great question, and I'm super glad that you brought that up. Thank you. OL says, is now a good time to buy a brand new home in Las Vegas? OL, thank you so much for being here. And the reality is that the market is stabilizing. So as the market is stabilizing, that still means that homes are going to appreciate. How does that pertain to new construction? That means that new construction is likely to start dropping a little bit of their price or becoming a little bit more negotiable with incentives that they're offering, depending on what we start seeing moving through the first quarter of 2019. Is it a good time to buy a new construction? Well, it all depends on how long you're going to be living in that home, OL. The reality is that's a question you always want to ask yourself, whether it's new construction or whether it's a resale home, is how long do you plan to live in that house? My biggest suggestion to any home buyer is not to buy a house unless they can realistically see themselves living in that house for a minimum OL of 3 to 5 years, preferably 5 to 7 years. When it comes to new construction, I ask you to see if you could live in that house for 7 to 10 years at a minimum, because why the time comes into consideration is the historic flow of real estate's ups and downs. And by staying in a house for 7 to 10 years, especially in new construction, you're giving the market the opportunity to build up some equity in your house, as you're also paying down the mortgage. In short, the only one that can make that decision for you is you. You know, that's really what it comes down to. You ask me if it's a good time to buy. Look, it's up to you and your circumstance. If it makes sense for you in your life, awesome. Whether it's new construction or resale, awesome. If it's new construction, then the added benefit of a new construction at home is simple. The new construction is all brand new, so you're not going to have to worry about home maintenance, major home maintenance items for quite some time moving into the future. A downside is that you're going to have to do your own backyard. The downside is that most people spend between 7 and 15% in options, depending on the builder. That's pretty normal. And the other thing is that you don't know who your neighbors are going to be until it's built. Whereas with a resale community that's already established, you can pretty reasonably expect that what you see is what you're going to get. All the same, OL, that's a really good question. At the end of the day, nobody can tell you what's right for you but you. So think about if it's a good time for you. If you're asking me about market conditions and trends, sure. Everything is looks like we're headed into the stabilized real estate market, so it's fine. It's just fine. I mean, we're thinking that the market's going to still appreciate, just at a slower rate. So it's just what you want to do and what's best for you. Okay, Janine Hoke. Hi, Janine. I'm glad that you made it on today. She says, hi, Andrew. Can you give me more insight into lending element of real estate? You just mentioned mortgage rates changing daily. Can you provide some insight on why? Sure. It's off the market. It's off of what's called a prime rate. So anytime that you start dealing with with interest rates that are based off of a prime rate, subject to market rates, everything is flexible. Everything changes day to day. It's not like they change by, normally it's not like they change by drastic amounts, but it could be an eighth of a point here, 16th of a point there, a quarter of a point here, you know, or a quarter of a point there. So it does change daily. That's why you see some of those living interest rates fluctuating every single day. And you're like, hey, you know, I just looked at it and it was like 5%, and now it's like 5.125%. Well, one thing that you consider, Janine, and one thing to be very clear and honest about here is that those rates that you see may or may not apply to a person's unique situation. A buyer still has to go through the loan pre-approval process, and the lender is going to take into account a wide variety of variables that are ultimately going to determine what kind of interest rate they can qualify for, from looking at the credit score to looking at debt to income ratios. So by the time you put the whole package together is where that you can expect the interest rates to fall. So it really depends on a person's credit worthiness, whether they're going to get some of the better rates or not. It's something to consider, but it's something to be very real about, that even with what you see rates advertised as, and I would be very, very cautious of rates that seem ultra low for the market, because they generally are. And if you click that little asterisk and read why, it's normally because they're saying something like, this is assuming a buyer has an 800 plus credit score, put 20% down, and did a 3-to-1 or 5-to-1 adjustable rate mortgage. So that's like really important to note, because that's not so cool. I consider it a deceptive practice, but unfortunately the laws of the United States allow it. So long as it's disclaimed, but that disclaimer is so small and people don't look at it. So please look at it and make sure that you're making a well-informed decision that's right for you. Janine says, why can one lender have one rate and another lender have another? Oh, okay. Okay, you just answered the second question. Okay, looks like we're answering both questions right away, Janine, so that's pretty cool. Superior Lawn Care, we need a new car, but we don't know if we should wait. We don't want to ruin our chances of getting our first home. So Superior Lawn Care, I'm glad that you're here today, and I'm glad that you put that question up again, because I actually thought that that was a really important question. I was considering it as the question of the day today, what people should do in this situation. Now, you had shared with me in the question that you'd posed on the comment section that you're probably like a year away from our conversations about you guys buying your house, and you don't want to mess everything up, but you need a new car. Here's the reality. You need to talk to the loan officer, and here's why. Because if you're taking out a loan for the new vehicle, quite possibly could throw your debt to income ratios. I'm not as concerned about it really impacting your credit score, because a hard inquiry on your credit score normally hits at 3 to 5 points, what you can easily rebound from over the next 12 months, right? And it'll probably be higher than where you started to begin with, so long as you continue your on-time payments and doing what you're supposed to do with your debts. Where I do get concerned and where I do have some reservations as a trusted real estate advisor, keeping in mind I'm not a loan officer, is it throwing your debt to income ratio out of whack in proportion to the amount of home that you wish to purchase. This is where I would suggest that you have a conversation with a loan officer, the one that we put you in touch with, to ask these questions about and play it out with their simulator that they have to see how it's going to impact you. At the end of the day, if it prevents you from being able to afford the amount of home that you wish to purchase, then it's something that you and your wife need to consider closely, whether it's the right decision for you or not. At the same time, knowing that you guys have a few kids and getting ready to have another one, which congratulations, by the way, then the reality is that from a life perspective, you still need a vehicle that can support your family. The question becomes, can your current vehicles do that, or can they not? And the second question comes, can you get a used van or a used vehicle that maybe is not as expensive, that may not hit you as hard on your debt to income ratios? All the same, I want you to reach out to the local loan officer to review that specific situation with them, so that you and your wife know what the right decision is for you, given the goals that you have 12 months from now to be able to buy a home. I hope that makes sense, Superior Lawn Care. And if you have questions, please let me know. But it's a very, very good question. And it's one that a lot of people find themselves asking themselves as they're getting ready to buy a home. So thank you for bringing that up. And thank you for being here today to bring it up again. Okay. So let's go back into the comments here. Javier Vendana, one of my real estate colleagues and another YouTuber out of Phoenix, Arizona, had watched the buy or sell with solar panel video last week. And I thought he made a pretty interesting expression, frankly. So Javier said, "Hey, solar panels are a lot like tattoos. If a homeowner gets them, they need to fully understand the consequences of getting them. What works for you might not work for the next potential buyer of the home." And he's absolutely right with that. I never heard somebody make the analogy of solar panels to a tattoo, but the analogy fits. So Javier, rock on. He's one of he's a great real estate agent in Phoenix, if anybody is watching from Phoenix right now. And he does have his own YouTube channel too. Different approach, but we all educate you, the consumer, to help you guys make sense of real estate. So I thought it was pretty funny and wanted to share his expression that solar panels are like tattoos. What's right for you may not be right for another. Okay. So Megorium, who we know is here from earlier on today, had commented on 9 questions to ask your mortgage lender and said, "This entire video was so helpful. I'm wanting to buy my first home this year and trying to educate myself on every step and where to start, what to expect, ask, etc. Thank you so much." Megorium, did you happen to catch that video that I just released yesterday about the first time homebuyer 2019? In that video, in the show more description below, is a lot of different links that could be your best friend. Now, what I would ask you to do as well, when you're asking about timing of contacting a real estate agent to help you out, is go ahead and do that. And I made a specific video that was linked at the end of the first time video of how to pick a real estate agent. Want to do that on your own, or if you need my help or would like my help finding one, that's cool too. Either way, what I would like you to do is take specific note of the links that I shared in that section, and also take specific note of the home buying playlist. Yes, I know there's a ton of videos. There's like over 100 videos in there by now. At the same time, you will be one heck of a savvy buyer if you're wondering where to start. That is the place to start, is with the homebuyer video 2019, and then the rest of that playlist. You will know everything that you're getting ready to go through, and you'll be like, "Hey, this is awesome. I've replaced all my fear, which is just false evidence appearing real, with knowledge, and knowledge is power that equals comfort and confidence." So thank you for checking out that video. I'm glad it was helpful to you. Superior Lawn Care, thank you so much. We will contact our loan officer. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that, Superior Lawn Care. Let me know how that goes for you. Megorium, you're so cool. Thank you. I'll do that. Hey, you know what, McGorm? I think you're really cool too for being here, and everybody else that's here that watches this live or after the fact. I really appreciate each of you. So when we go to Simon Sinek's book about finding your why, each of you and everybody that watches this channel is the reason why I make these videos. And it means a lot to me when we get to have this active participation in live stream to chat with each other and reading the comments. It's just a blessing. And I just have one heck of an attitude of gratitude about it. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much. Okay, Edwin. Then Edwin Lowe had watched the buy or sell with solar power and says, thanks for the video. Joby3Q, hi Andrew, how are you doing? Do you think it'd be a wise idea to lower my backup offer since the original offer from the buyer fell through? Well, that depends. That really does. That's a really good question, by the way. You know, I just read that off and it just clicked. And the first thing that always comes to mind, just depends on the situation and the circumstances. Does the seller in that case have another backup offer? That's something that you'd want to have your trusted real estate advisor find out. Do they have any other offers on that property, or do they anticipate another buyer could potentially make an offer on that property at the same time you're trying to get your backup offer accepted? If that case is yes, then you probably better to leave your offer where it is. At the same time, this is the big telltale. This is the big telltale to that question. You need to get with your trusted real estate advisor and ask them to perform a current comparative market analysis, also known as a CMA, to verify that the amount that you originally offered is still the right price. As I said earlier on in today's episode and in the 2019 predictions video, the market is stabilizing. What that means is that we're going to see this up and down trend, and we're going to see price reductions going on. While that line is still going to go up and right for overall home appreciation, depending on the price of home in your marketplace, in the area that you're purchasing it, it could be up or down or just the same. So the best way to answer that question is to ask your trusted real estate advisor to give you a CMA on that property to justify your offer, whether you're going to go down or whether you're going to leave it where it is. Depending on the market conditions is the answer to that question. All the same, that is a fantastic question, and I'm super happy you brought it up. Thank you. Tishar, hi Andrew, love the videos you're cranking out. Keep them coming. You know I will. 3 times a week with the recorded content for this year and once a week for the live session. So yeah. So I'm just thinking of all the different videos I've already made for you this year. There's only been 7 that you guys have seen, but I'm actually 56 videos that I've already created for this year on a total count of 158 recorded planned videos for this year too. So I'm super excited to share them with you. I've just been working hard on it. So I'm really optimistic and hopeful that our channel will really explode this year and get the knowledge into people's hands in front of their phone, television, however they want to watch it and listen to it to help them make a wise, well-informed decision. So it's courtesy of you. It's courtesy of everyone here. It's courtesy of everyone, all 6,055 or so people that are and counting now that are subscribed to the channel, that keep us growing and keep us moving forward and keep redefining the reason why, keep justifying my reason why I do this. You know, the first couple of years were hard as hell. I ain't gonna lie. I made so many videos and only had 350 subscribers going into January of 2018. But by the time we went into January 2019, we were coming up on 6,000 subscribers. That showed me what I'm doing and what my faith and my belief in you as a person and what the need is to help people make well-informed real estate decisions by providing transparent and honest real estate advice is very much needed. And I just want to say thank you. Really, that I could get very emotional about that, but thank you. Joby3Q, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate the great question. Tishar, clap, clap, thumb, thumb. Well, I give you clap, clap, thumb, thumb too. So awesome. George Vallejo, question. A year ago, my offer got accepted on a house, but it fell through during appraisal. About a $7,000 difference. A month later, the owner upped his price $10,000. Why is that? Okay, so if we're talking about the market conditions at the time, George, a year ago, then what could have happened is a couple of different things. Sometimes sellers are just bat crap crazy. I mean, I just want to throw it out there. And it's not just sellers. It can also be home buyers. Anybody else for that matter can just be bat crap crazy and they drink their own Kool-Aid or what have you. It doesn't matter. The point is that I would think that that's kind of like on the weird side of the bell curve. If we looked at it as that, a more logical thought process of what could have realistically been happening is that the market had just had some recent comparables that closed, that it would have supported that price. Since last year we were in that heated seller's market. That's what prices were doing. That's number one. Number two is the emotional component of what is a buyer willing to pay for a property. While it fell through for you because of the low appraisal amount, there may have been another buyer in the market, or the seller may have had the belief other buyers were in the market that would be willing to pay beyond the appraised value in cash, because we did see a lot of that going on too, unfortunately. So it's one of the situations that it really depends. And short of being able to dive into a seller's mind, we probably will never know the real answer behind their thought process of why they made that decision. At the same time, in practice, it's normally going to be one of those two situations. Maybe they're just crazy, or maybe it was because they had some recent comparables that supported that price, and it would have been appropriate had that listing agent got back with your buyer agent to let you know that if that was the case, and maybe just try to redo the whole process with you. But if it was a $7,000 difference and then it went up $10,000, I'm not sure if that was within your financial wherewithal with your loan pre-approval or desire to do, for that matter. So it's a great question. I'm glad that you bring it up. At the end of the day, we cannot assume ownership of anyone else's thought process but our own. All we can do is observe and speculate, and then ideally, in speculation, identify the facts of the situation to come up with a well-balanced hypothesis. But at the same time, it's just that, an opinion or a thought about what someone else is thinking. So without being able to get in their mind, we're just really speculating at the end of the day. So if you're just curious about that, you could just see what the property closed at and see if it closed for more. And then that might be the answer, as well as whether they had a buyer that was willing to pay more, or if the market was there at the time that they did that with some recent closings. Great question, George. Thank you for the question. Mitza Bless watched Beginner's Guide to Refinancing Your Mortgage. And Mitza says, nice one, Andrew. Thank you, Mitza. Really appreciate that. Maxine Mitchell was watching 6 Questions to Ask When Buying a New Construction Home, and asked me, what are some of the best home builders you know about in the greater Houston area? You're obviously going to have your national level builders that are normally pretty prominent and very good. KB, Richmond American, DR Horton, Toll Brothers, Pinnacle Homes. These are pretty normal builders. William Lyons, that are very, very good builders. If you get very specific into the greater Houston area, you may have some local or regional builders that are extremely good. There's a fabulous real estate agent over there. She was actually one of the top 250 in this for 2019's Newsmakers, and she and I fell in the same category nationwide of the top 250 agents that are doing wonderful things to help people. Her name is Nicole Lopez with Intero Real Estate. If you want to hit her up, she's a pretty cool lady, and you might want to have a conversation with her about her opinion of what some builders are that are over there, depending on what you're looking for. Again, Nicole Lopez, Houston, Texas, Intero Real Estate. Fabulous lady, named one of the trendsetters for the 2019 Newsmakers by real estate in a real estate magazine from a company called Riz Media. So, and yeah, like I mentioned, I got to be in there too, but that's because of you, and that's because of everybody that watches the channel. So thank you for that. Bordeaux Rose was watching 6 Mistakes to Avoid Hiring a Handyman. She says, love the setup. Thanks for the info. Thank you, Bordeaux Rose. Glad that you enjoyed that episode. Nadia Harrison had watched the same video, said, great ideas and tips. Thank you. Thank you, Nadia, for watching that video. I'm glad that it was helpful to you. Janine, I'm not sure if you're still here or not, but now it's your turn on the comment section for the same video. And you said, perfect timing. I was just thinking about getting a handyman to do some things around the house. Love it. Awesome content as usual. Home run. So super glad that you were able to do that, and super glad that that video hit at the right time. Seems like we've had a couple of really good luck instances, Janine, where I was making a video and it released around the same time that you were getting ready to need that content that was in the video. So I'm glad it worked out for you. Thank you, Janine, for the comment, by the way. Sunny had watched 6 Things Burglars Don't Want You to Know, says, excellent advice, very much appreciated. Thank you, Sunny. Glad that you enjoyed it. Blake Ransdale had watched 6 Questions to Ask When Buying a New Home Construction. Blake says, I can't say enough about the wealth of knowledge your videos have been for me and my wife. Informative and helpful. Blake, I got to tell you, when I read that comment, it really hit home with me, and I was so glad that it really has helped you and your wife with the information coming from these videos. You know, everybody that contacts me about the channel really makes me feel amazing, that and just justifies, again, like today's book and book of the week, Find Your Why with Simon Sinek. It really justifies the reason why, and just makes it so much stronger for me whenever I read comments like that, and then the comments on the live stream, and having the opportunity to do these things with you. It just really amps me up and keeps me going to keep pushing myself, to keep making even better content, higher quality content, and just keep upping the ante and pushing myself harder to give you even more. So George Vallejo says, thank you for answering that. I appreciate it. I'm still looking and I'm a first-time homebuyer, so I've been on YouTube to find answers to questions regarding first-time Q&A. You know, George, that's really awesome that you're on YouTube doing that. In the First-Time Homebuyers 2019 episode, the last point was YouTube, because you do have me, you do have Javier Vidana in Phoenix, Arizona, you do have Matt Layton in Alexandria, Virginia, and we are essentially 3 agents of about 1.5 million across the United States, but we're 3 agents with a passion to help people make sense of real estate and producing content for you, the consumer, in a way that is not salesy and is objective based upon each of our experiences and each of our own marketplaces. We bring this forward to you. So George, I think you're on track. I have produced almost 500 videos. It'll be 500 videos here in about probably a month or so that I hit. Right now, as of this live recording, be about 473. If you check out the home buying playlist, you'll see a mixture of different types of videos that will likely have one that will answer there'll actually be a lot that will answer your questions, but whatever's on your mind, you'll probably quickly be able to go list and identify what's most important to you right now. Check out that video, and this is what I'd like you to do, George, if you'd be so kind, is as you're doing that, if you think of something that you say, you know what, Andrew, it'd be very, very helpful if you made a video about this, send me a direct email. Again, my direct email is always in the show more description below. Hit me up, give me the idea, and let me know why it would be important and what you would suggest. If you have any questions, when you're saying what you suggest, all I'm looking for are the questions that are on your mind. How does this answer your question? Because here's the thing. If you're thinking it, George, there's other first-time homebuyers thinking it. And if there's other first-time homebuyers thinking it, then eventually they're going to find this channel too. And as they do, we want to make sure that everybody moves forward with the peace of mind and knowing what they're doing and how to make a well-informed decision that's right for them and their family. So that's what I'd like you to do if you are up for the challenge and if you'd be so kind. Thank you for bringing that up, George. Really appreciate it. And then you mentioned another comment here. Saw one video of yours and it was very informative. Subscribe right away. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing right away, George. And again, I look forward to hearing any suggestions you come up with. But please do check the playlist first, because I've made so many videos, to be honest with you, and there's a lot more that are getting ready to come out about a whole slew of different topics about buying, you know, all kinds of fun stuff coming out soon. But all the same, let me know. Thanks, George. Really appreciate your support. You definitely got mine too. Janine Hoke, yes, that's right. Timing. Can you provide insight into what a person can do if they feel like they are being discriminated against based on race or lending product used in the home buying process? Janine, that's absolutely awful if that's going on. Number one, that's a violation of the RESPA, which is designed to not discriminate, as is the Fair Housing Act. So what you could do is you go on the Fair Housing Act. It'll have a link there that you could report that. The other thing that you could do is also contact the actual brokerage and let them know, keeping in mind that there's only one discriminatory factor that is absolutely allowable in real estate and lending practice. Only one. Can you guess what it is? Money. Either you got the money in the credit score or you don't. That's the only discriminatory factor in real estate and lending. That's it. Anything else, race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, any of that kind of stuff, absolutely not permitted. Okay? And that's something that will really make me start to want to say words I shouldn't say on a live video, frankly, because I don't believe in discrimination against anybody. And I don't believe that it's right for anyone, anywhere to do it, because if someone comes in my office right now and cuts me, I'm going to bleed this color called red. If somebody cut them back, they're going to bleed this color called red. By virtue of that, we are already more alike than we are not. It's all about respect and treating each other right. You know, just because someone's financials aren't in order, somebody needs work on their FICO, that doesn't mean we can't help you, because it absolutely does. Again, the purpose of these videos that I put out when we're talking about credit scores and stuff. So Janine, if you feel that you've been discriminated against, you can go to the Fair Housing Act, Fair Housing Authority, and actually look into that, please. And it's very simple to do with a Google query and get the exact link and file a complaint. Your next step that you could do is contact the broker. If it's a real estate agent, contact the broker manager or whomever's running the lending company, if it's that case, and report it. because that's unacceptable behavior. It's unacceptable practice. And we don't need you feeling like you're less than when you're not. Everybody deserves a home. Has to work hard to be able to buy a home, but nobody deserves to be treated differently just because of a skin color, a race, a sexual orientation, or anything like that, okay? So thank you for asking that question. It's a great question. Ty H, glad you mentioned Javier V. I'm a subscriber of his as well, and is pretty awesome too. Well, Ty, are you cheating on me? I mean, what's going on here? I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding, Ty. Hey, I'm glad he's a great guy. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Matt Layton out of Alexandria, Virginia. You might want to check out some of his content. We all take a little bit of a different approach, but the premise is the same, and that's to get the right information into your hands at hopefully the right time in your life to make a well-informed decision. And yeah, you know, Javier and I, you know, he comments on my videos, I comment on his videos. And what Matt and Javier and myself are looking at doing is figuring out some way that we can do a collaborative video some way. We're talking about Google Hangouts, talking about some different, ironing out some of the details it takes to produce a video and how to produce a video. So if you have some thoughts about that, Ty, why not hit us all up? I mean, hit up Javier on his comments, or hit me up on my comments or email, and let me know what you're thinking would make a great collab video, keeping in mind we got Matt over on the East Coast, we got me over here in Nevada, we got Javier over there in Phoenix. So all of us can bring something a little bit different to the table, shake it up a little bit, and definitely would be a really interesting video to make and a lot of fun. But yeah, all three of us talk, so we all know who each other is, and we all have each other's information, so really cool. So anyways, all the same, thank you for bringing that up. Glad that you like that. Addie Foley, I'm on my closing process, just got out of underwriting. Congratulations, Addie. We're glad to hear that you're in the closing process right now and you just finished underwriting. If you're past that little box in the check in the box, that means you're getting ready to close here in probably what, 3 to 5 days. So I'm super excited for you. Congratulations. And thank you for letting me know that you're here today. Megorium says, preach, Andrew. Hey, you know what? Got to keep it real. There's some things that really don't sit well with me. I'm a very open-minded and accepting person for the most part, but when it comes down to inequity or injustice, I am about the worst enemy you could ever hope that you wish that you never had. Inequity and injustice does not sit well with me at all. Bullies and everything else do not sit well with me at all. Quickest way to set me off and 0 to like Mach 10 and see the Marine Corps side of me come out is to let me catch somebody with inequity and justice or bullying somebody. The smile will not be in your favor. Let's put it that way. All the same, you know, if we all took that kind of a stance, I don't think we would have bullying going on. I don't think we'd have discrimination going on. If we just sat back and if we just did what I like to tell people all the time in practice, I call it TAB. Just TAB, J-TAB. Maybe I need to make a new shirt or something that says J-TAB, meaning just take a breath. Just take a breath. Take a step back, reassess. Just take a breath. And there's nothing that's ever so serious that we should ever cause harm to another person. It's just really not, unless we're defending ourselves for, you know, obviously if we're defending ourselves from someone hurting us or our family, that's a little bit of a different story. But when we're talking about, you know, in general, discriminating on somebody just because of a skin tone, you don't like their politics, you don't like whatever, are you serious? It's just... yeah, let me not get on that preaching, Megorium, because it'll hit a nerve, and I can see my face turning a little bit red in the screen as I think about inequity and justice. Yeah, just don't like it. LaRon Hall, I'm feeling it again, Andrew. Well, LaRon, I'm glad that you're feeling it again, my friend. Hey, I'm glad that you're here too. Thank you. Ty H says 100. Hey, absolutely. 100 right back at you. Always keep it 100. John Y. Hi, Andrew. The appraisal came in high by $2,000. That's a good thing, right? John Y., that is an awesome. And guess what? The seller won't know about it, so hopefully they ain't watching this right now. Anyways, the point, John Y., of that being is anytime an appraisal comes in higher than the contractor price, that's awesome. That doesn't mean you have to pay more. What that does mean is that's the amount of equity that you just got in your home from the first day that you close, as opposed to waiting maybe 6 months, a year, or however long it normally takes, given market conditions. Keeping in mind that with a stabilized market, you should see appreciation in the next 6 to 12 months on your house, which is awesome. But, you know, at the same time, markets do ebb and flow. But going into home ownership with equity your first day out of the gate, that's awesome. Even if it was just $1, that's awesome. $2K, freaking rock on, dude. Awesome. Very happy for you. And yeah, as you're saying, is it a good thing? I think you just saw. I think it's an awesome thing. Okay, Antonio Leia just closed yesterday. Andrew, thank you for making these informational videos. Love the upgrade on your new videos. Very professional. Antonio Leia, congratulations, my friend, on closing on your new home. Super, super excited for you. And I hope you enjoy many happy years filling the walls of your home with love and joy as you make happy memories there with the people that you choose to have into your kingdom. Congratulations, my friend. You're absolutely welcome for the informational videos. Goes back again to how I found my why and the reason why I make them. Simon Sinek, find your why. So very good. I'm glad that you like the upgrade. Yeah, there's that camera is like so high def, it's ridiculous. Sometimes I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, I can actually, now I know I'm going gray. I mean, I do my, obviously shave, brush teeth and do the hair, but I never don't really pay attention to the gray. But when I watched that video, I was like, oh my God, I'm starting to streak. Starting to show my age a little bit. Anyways, a whole different story altogether. Antonio, thank you. Excited for you. And thank you for being here. Now it's your turn to start paying attention to the Friday videos with home ownership. I think you'll love that. Edgar Canedo, have you ever considered being a mentor? Yeah, I actually have. And it's something that I've given a lot of thought about. And in fact, with a channel that I'd like to get set up, like I mentioned, my recorded content for this channel is scheduled for 158 recorded videos for 2019. I have now produced 53 of those 158. So I have a ways to go. My goal is to finish the recorded content by the middle of March for the year for this channel. And then I need to take a little bit of a break because 3 videos a day is a lot. And that's what the rate that I've been shooting at is 3 a day. So that being said, the thought is that the next channel I would do would be for real estate agents and for sales professionals, and learning that sales has nothing to do with what most people think are sales. Sales has everything to do with respect. Sales have everything to do with understanding what's important to somebody and understanding how to ask the right questions to help people figure out if it's even the wise decision for them or not. At the end of the day, what makes me successful as a real estate advisor is because I don't sell. I simply ask questions. And I mean, I'm just shoot straight with people. I said, I can meet with people that want to buy or sell a home. I don't know if I can help you, and I don't know if I can help you or I can't help you until we have a conversation. If we have a conversation and after that conversation, we're not a good fit because we just ain't feeling it, okay, rock on. I don't want to work with you. You don't want to work with me. That's cool. I get it. Because there are some people not for me. At the same time, most of the people, that have an open mind, that want to learn and want to make a smart decision in real estate, I've got their back 110%, and we're going to have a wonderful time working together because I'm listening to them. They're following the guidance of what's going to make them successful. And, with a proven track record and over 100 5-star reviews across the internet, one might say that process that I use for home sellers and buyers might just work, right? That being said, so that was a thought about teaching people to connect and treat others with respect and dignity, and then giving some fine points, because I think real estate education is lacking, and I think that's why and sales education is lacking, quite frankly, and that's why I have that thought about that channel. And I think that's why the people, most people look at real estate agents thinking they're just salespeople or whatever, as opposed to giving them, in my opinion, a trusted real estate advisor, especially, the almost a respect the same way that you would a good doctor or a good attorney. Because the reality is a good trusted real estate advisor will help you save thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars and help you from making a mistake by helping you gain clarity, by telling you, hey, take a breath, just have a moment. Take a breath, let's slow down, reassess what's most important to you before you pull an emotional trigger that may not be right for you. So it's about being real. At the end of the day, a person's going to make a decision that's right for them or not. And at the end of the day, even in real estate, a buyer or seller is going to make the decision, not me, not anyone else. They make the decision, but as long as they're well prepared and well informed about why they're making that decision, goes back to today's book, Find Your Why. Knowing why you're making that decision, then it's a decision you can live with, and it's a decision you can be happy with. Just something to think about, just something to consider. Beyond that, I definitely considered a whole different channel about maybe like personal development and stuff. So, I mean, there's definitely much more to come in the future with what I'm thinking and what I'm doing. The way that I've looked at this first channel, frankly, is, look, if you go back to the very first video that I ever made, you'll be like, oh my God, Andrew, that was awful. And I would agree with you. Content was awesome. Flow format of the video, not so awesome. But the content of the videos I've provided, I've always put my heart and soul into. And it does take time, at least ways that it has for me. Some people might be natural behind the camera. For me, it takes time. I find it a lot easier to be behind camera like I am now, despite some of the mistakes that I may make in speech or something here and there. So I find it easier when we're having the conversation more than any other time. When I'm shooting the recorded content, sometimes the way that I do it is I like to envision that we're having this conversation. I like to envision what someone's doing when they would click on the video, whether they're watching it on the television, they're watching it on the phone, a tablet, computer, wherever they are, and how I can connect with you because it's my passion to do so, how you can feel like we're right here, right now, and it's just you and I. Because to me, that's the way I look at making the videos. It's just a two-way conversation. It's a very personal experience to invite me onto your phone to talk. It's a very personal thing for you to allow me into your time when we're all so busy and watch. So I'd like to connect in that way. So thinking back on mentoring and other things, there's much more to come. And as I get better at making videos, you'll see it happen. You'll see it happen. So thank you though, and thank you for, it sounds like you'd be interested, so thank you on that. Edgar. Anyways, a little bit deep right there. Superior Lawn Care. See, I knew you were a cool person. That's why I subscribe and watch all your videos. Superior Lawn Care, I'm glad that you like it. I knew you're a cool person too, and your family was cool whenever we met. Anyways, Janine Hoke says, gray is called wisdom. Hey, that's what they say, right? Maybe I'll go all silver someday. I don't know. All the same, I don't really care. I go gray, I go silver. It doesn't really bother me. I go bald. Also, I look like Mr. Clean, and maybe I could do a commercial for them if I go completely bald, right? Just mop it down. Or in the Marine Corps, we'd say if you're bald, then you put mop and glue on it to make it shine. So, hey, whatever. Addie Folly, I got a personal loan like 3 months ago, and the loan officer needed an explanation for the loan, which I did since Monday. That's perfect, Addie. Yes, they do need explanations of different parts of the closing process with the underwriting process. When you have money that shifts around, loans that are made, anything like that, it's extremely important for them to know to be able to give you a clear to close. Megorium. So I have two realtors of mine, both have amazing reviews on Facebook. What questions can I ask during my first sit down with each one of them to narrow down which agent to pick? Can an agent reject you? There's a lot going on there, Megorium. So I'm glad that number one, you've narrowed it down, and I'm glad that you're looking at Facebook reviews. The next thing that I always suggest is turning to our friend named Google. A Google query. Now that Google query could look like, I'm going to use my name for example, since I don't know the other agent's name. It could be as simple as Andrew Finney Reviews, Andrew Finney Las Vegas, Andrew Finney Realtor, Andrew Finney Las Vegas Reviews, Andrew Finney Realtor Reviews. And what we want to do is we want to look in total, what kind of reviews they have on Facebook. What are they on Google, if any? What are they on Zillow or any of these other websites to get a good consensus of whether they're straight 5 stars across the board or if there's a little nick. And the way I always look at this is as trusted real estate advisors, and I've seen this happen to another really good trusted real estate agent last year, and I was so angry for him. I really was. It was somebody he hadn't even worked with, had given him a low rating for no reason in life, even though he kept trying to follow up with this person. This person was saying that he wasn't calling him back or something. It was just an online inquiry. And this person got so annoyed, I thought, you got to be just one of those people that just like to cause drama or something to do that. If you're getting called from the real estate agent and you're not taking the call and then you're blaming the real estate agent for not being available, that's a problem. If the agent's calling you, that's a problem. And then the complaint about it, it's even worse. Because he and I were talking about it, come to find out in like 5 days, he'd reach out to this person like 15 times. So that's 3 times a day. I think somebody can return a call, just saying. Anyways, the reason I bring that up is if they have predominantly 5-star ratings and they have a low one here and there, then hey, guess what? That low one here and there just could be somebody that could have been completely a joke and put something out. Completely upset with the process, probably something that they made a bad decision about, and then they're doing finger pointing. I mean, I hate to call it out like that, but sometimes you just got to call a spade, and that's what happens. But if the majority of the ratings are 4.5, 5 stars and above, or well, it kind of caps at 5 stars, but at 5 stars, and you read the testimonial that the people are putting in there and it feels good to you, normally whichever one makes you see and picture what it's like to work together is probably going to be the better one. To the second point of your question, or actually before I get to that, I did make a specific video about how to pick an agent and 9 ways to find the right one for you. Check out that video, and it'll give you a lot of the questions. When you're asking me the questions you want to ask, it'll give you a lot of the questions in that video to ask and the things that you want to know about, okay? But when you're talking about, can an agent reject working with you? Yeah, it's a two-way, yeah, they can. It's a two-way street. You know, I've met with some people, and sometimes I talk to them, and it's just not going to be a fit. And for me, it's pretty easy to know whether you're someone that I want to work with or not, based upon your answers and based upon the conversation. And if you want an idea of what that's looking like for someone like me to be like, no, this ain't going to work, is normally because I'm catching you in a lie. It's normally because I am listening to what you're saying to me and it doesn't make sense. I'm listening to what you're propositioning and it's not correct or ethical behavior or correct or ethical practice. If a person starts breaking the ethical guidelines and boundaries and what I hold dear as integrity, I'm just not going to work with you. I don't care if you got $100 million property. I'm not working with you if I've got to compromise my ethics and my integrity to do so, or break a law to do so. Just not going to happen. The other types that can sometimes give me pause are the ones that come in that tell me how to sell a house or tell me how to buy a house. It's not that I'm not open-minded, receptive to ideas, because I am. But when you're trying to tell me everything that you're going to do and the reason that you're going to do it, and then you're going to try to make me feel like I don't know what I'm doing, and then you're going to berate me, that's not a respectful relationship. The cornerstone of any successful relationship is respect. And as long as someone's respectful, you know, I'm pretty cool with working with a lot of people. I work with a few people. So, you know, 130 in the last 5 years that I've helped buy and sell property. So, you know, the fact of the matter is, as long as you're respectful, it's cool. As long as you're listening and, you know, I'm listening to you, you're listening to me, I'm giving you the guidance, you're following the guidance, that's cool. Whenever I'm giving the guidance and then you're getting angry because it's not working out and you're not following it, and then you turn around and get mad at me, it's not my fault. It's yours. You didn't listen. There's a process to real estate. So it's a mutual interview. The way I look at it, it's always a mutual interview. The reality is, in most cases, a real estate agent would like to work with you. All we're looking for and all we're asking for is respect. And you'll have the utmost of our respect in return. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense, Megorium, as far as what trusted real estate advisors would look for and some of the things that you should be looking for in an agent. But you always want to Google them, check out the ratings, the reviews, and find the right one for you. Okay? And see if they're the right one for you by reading those reviews. Okay, Ty H, agreed, Andrew. Even from your earlier videos, your content has always been consistent and very much appreciated. Thank you, Ty, for your support. And I'm glad that everyone seems to be enjoying the new camera and the new video format and the animations going into the videos. Ty, if you've been around with me for a long time, especially from the earlier videos, I used to say, hey, I'm trying to do this in an edutaining way. And I figured, hey, you know what? The best way to be edutaining is to be edutaining. And if you're wondering what edutainment is, it's just a hybrid. It's an amalgamation of a word between educate and entertaining. It's edutain. And I've always wanted to try to make things fun, because guess what? Real estate can be a lot of darn fun. And it should be a lot of darn fun. And when you get really good and you get a lot of skill behind you, then it is fun. Because you know where to look out for, you know how to enjoy the people that you work with. They can enjoy working with you. You can laugh, you can have a good time. But the moment I see something like, hey, so you see that water stain on the ceiling there? We need to investigate that a little bit further. We need to get a home inspector in here to let us know what's going on. So it can be all fun and games until, boom, you see something like, hey, there's fuzz on the wall. We might want to get a mold inspector to investigate that and make sure everything's okay. Anyways, it can be fun and should be fun at the end of the day. Megorium, awesome. I will check out that video and really appreciate the honest answer. I really want to find an agent that my husband and I will get along with. You hit the nail on the head. And that's when where Edgar was saying about mentoring and such. Yeah, that's really what it's about, is connection and feeling comfortable with the person that you're working with, because you're doing so with the biggest investment of most of our life being our home. So you're absolutely right about that. So I just noticed we had such a wonderful time going on so far today. It's almost been like an hour. And I just looked down at the timer and now I'm like, OMG, I got to go because now I'm going to be late to Hillary Farr's event, the Rules of Renovation. So anyways, Ty, one last thing here. The realest real estate advisor ever. I think we can all agree we've thoroughly been edutained by your videos. I'm glad that's the case. And let's look forward to another edutaining video coming out tomorrow in recorded format and coming back live next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, because I really got to go because I got about 25 minutes to get to my Rules of Renovation with Hillary Farr, and I'm going to be a little bit late. But all the same, pleasure spending some time with you guys today, and I'll look forward to catching up with y'all next week. And between now and next time, wishing you and yours a lifetime full of love, wealth, abundance, and happiness. Make it a great day and be the